Welcome to the Think Podcast.
So, speaking of the physical abilities of angelic or spiritual beings, to what extent do you think that there was genetic manipulation going on in the Antediluvian age?
Not very much. I think I think it's a case of supernatural things. I don't think there's any natural genetic manipulation. I think there are two mistakes to make. Is that primitive people were stupid? That's one mistake. It's called chronological snobbery. The other mistake is to overestimate the abilities of the pre-ark people, because the reason science grew up in medieval Europe is because of the biblical worldview. You have this idea of a divine lawmaker and who made laws. He's a god of order, not the god of confusion. And that's why science grew up in the Middle Ages first, okay?
Yeah.
But the antediluvian civilization was not very godly.
So they wouldn't have had science.
I don't believe they would have had science. I mean, we look at what did Noah have to build his ark with? He had to use gopher wood. He didn't have a titanium alloy. Didn't have an outboard motor or hovercraft engines. He just had a floating box-shaped thing made of a wooden stuff with some pitch, which you get from boiling pine resin, not sort of Teflon or anything like that. Okay, so we can't overestimate what Noah had available. He had metal tools that we know of because some of Cain's people, descendants, invented metalworking. So he had that, but didn't have titanium alloys, though.
Well, so I wonder, are you familiar at all with some of the like Indian myths? I don't know if they're in the Vedas or what, where it talks about flying machines, vimanas, and Mercury-powered craft, and even what sounds like atomic bombs, sand turning to glass and people's hair falling out and that kind of thing.
I'm not familiar. Sorry, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. I wasn't sure if you'd looked into that because, what you said was, it's a realization I think I've been coming to lately is prior to the flood, they would not have had science because science arose from the biblical worldview.
Correct.
So yeah, you're right. So how do they get now? What do you make of? Okay, maybe this answer is obvious. I'm speculating with you because I feel like if anyone's gonna have a good opinion on these, I think it'd be you. When it comes to the dinosaurs, hear me out on this. The dinosaurs are megalithic or megafauna. They're huge.
Yes.
Some of them, that's right. I know the average size was a lot smaller, but you do have some that are huge. And I know you've got megafauna of all kinds, not just reptilian. But some of these beasts seem to be like killing machines. You look at the T-Rex, you look at the Velociraptor and things. Do you think, when you get into some of the extra biblical literature, there's some evidence that it wasn't just human beings that were involved in this whole angelic travesty, but it might have been even the animal kingdom as well. Could that have produced giant animals in the same way that it produced?
I don't believe we need that. I think the dinosaurs are best explained as being creations of God. They were created originally vegetarian, but after the fall, they became some of them became killing machines. But I think they are natural. They were created. In fact, I've just completed a dinosaur book with Joel Tay, quite a major creation book on dinosaurs. That's the latest project I've been working on. And I think they're explained as created. They're amazing creations. I mean, I think you look at them and some of the amazing designs, the super composite armor of the Ankylosaurus, for instance, and you have super strong, even though the T-Rex muscles arms were tiny compared to the body, they could curl 400 pounds each. Okay, so they were not weak at all. And then you think of what it would have taken for a Brachiosaurus to pump blood up to to its brain, because they're actually only just working out now how giraffes can do it, and Brachiosaurus is 3 times taller than giraffes. So there's some amazing design features there, but I don't think you need to talk about satanic or alien beings to explain the dinosaurs. I think they were created by God. They were part of the fall. They fell and became meat eaters after the fall, and by the time of the flood, some of them were quite clearly meat eaters. You can see things like a T-Rex tooth in a hadrosaur bone, which had healed over. So the hadrosaur, the duck-billed dinosaur, escaped the predator and had a chance for the bone to heal, but the tooth was stuck in the bone. So you see, they were quite clearly predating. You can look at the dinosaur coprolites, the fossilized dung, which actually shows they were eating other animals by then. But that's 1,600 years after the creation.
Okay.
So created very good, but they became meat eaters after the fall. So I don't think you need any sort of supernatural thing to explain all that.
Okay, that's super helpful. I appreciate that. So in that regard, we could look at dinosaurs the same way we look at any meat-eating carnivorous predator.
Yes.
Originally created to not eat meat, not eat
Yes,
animals,
correct.
but since the fall, showing different characteristics.
Yep.
Do you